For some, Yamato was just Team 7's substitute teacher. For others, he was a guy who got forgotten during the Great Ninja War. But in my opinion, Yamato is one of the most tragic and underappreciated characters in all of Naruto. He was a brilliant young ninja, far more talented than most people seem to realize. He graduated from the academy and became a chunin when he was just 6 years old, which was borderline prodigy level. With his immense talent, it's impossible to say just how far Yamato could have and should have gone. Yet his life was derailed by two men, Orochimaru and Danzo. These two would set him on a path that would haunt him for the rest of his life, and while Yamato did end up making the most of it, it's hard not to see the tragedy in what happened to him. Yamato's story began in a test tube, and at that point in history, Orochimaru was still working in the Hidden Leaf conducting immoral experiments in secret to obtain the rarest and most powerful jutsu. At the top of that list was the first Hokage's famous wood style technique and presumably many of the healing factors that came with it. Orochimaru kidnapped 60 young children for this experiment, and Yamato just happened to be one of them. These experiments were naturally very dangerous, and Yamato watched helplessly from inside his test tube as other test subjects failed around him. Over time, every single child had died. Every child but him. While the experiments on him were a mild success, it wasn't long before the third Hokage stumbled upon Orochimaru's lab and saw the inhumane activity going on. Yamato was saved from Orochimaru's clutches, but that was only the beginning of his miserable journey. With his new wood-style jutsu, Yamato was a prized commodity to whoever could get their hands on him. With Orochimaru gone, the most ruthless of which would be Danzo. To Danzo, Yamato was the perfect tool to slowly mold into a weapon, and he did just that. Given the codename Kinui and personally trained by Danzo himself, Yamato slowly learned to hone his new powers, and that power was soon put to the test when the young assassin was sent to take out the third Hokage. Here, he was defeated by none other than Kakashi, who was working as a member of the Anbu at the time. This would be the first of their many encounters. After that failure, Danzo tasked Yamato to secretly meet with the defected Orochimaru at a small underground cave in the countryside. This cave was coincidentally home to the Iburi clan, a seclusive group cursed with the terrible ability to turn into smoke. While that power may sound alluring to some of you, the Iburi clan knows better, because when they turn to smoke, a small gust of wind is enough to scatter their form and kill them for good. But the Iburi clan is not just burdened with a secret ability, they have a secret past as well. Years prior, they were found by Orochimaru and offered a deal. Surrender young children with great potential to him, and in return, he would do his best to stabilize their cursed power. Yes, Yamato was one such child. He hadn't been kidnapped at all, he'd been sold out by his clan themselves. Of course, now Yamato remembers none of this. Despite a young Iburi girl named Yukimi claiming his name to be Tenzo and her younger brother, Yamato's memories began in a test tube. This mission of Yamato's was fraught with backstabbing and secret motivations. It was where Yamato met with Kakashi a second time and they began to bond as allies. And it was during this mission that the Iburi clan was wiped out for good, save for the young Yukimi, who Yamato helped rescue with the use of his wood-style jutsu. This was an important moment in Yamato's life. It was the first time he had helped someone, and the first time he realized he could. Under Orochimaru, he was nothing more than an experiment. Under Danzo, he was a weapon for assassination. This was his first good act, the first time he chose. Doubts arose in his mind about the route, Danzo, and his philosophy, and 3 years later, Danzo sent him on his last mission to steal Kakashi's Sharingan. Kakashi overpowered him and managed to talk him down. He still believed that Yamato's unique power wasn't limited to evil, and during this mission, he ironically even ended up saving Kakashi's life, directly refusing Danzo's orders for the very first time. Yamato went back to Danzo and argued that the route shouldn't be pitted against fellow Leaf Shinobi. It made no sense to fight amongst your own villagers, but Danzo couldn't be swayed on the matter. Yamato decided to leave the route, and you can guess how that was received. Danzo incapacitated him and likely planned to have him quietly murdered. Yamato was a tool, and a tool that no longer works is nothing more than trash. Luckily, Kakashi managed to intervene at just the right moment, but he was far outmatched in the middle of Danzo and several root ninja. It was at this point that the third Hokage stepped in, arguing for Yamato's life. He eventually managed to convince Danzo to let him go, though the cursed seal would stay with Yamato forever. Now rescued, Yamato was assigned to a new Anbu unit, under Kakashi's direct command. And at this point, Kakashi was probably Yamato's only connection in the entire world. These missions together only reinforced that bond until Yamato practically idolized his captain. This team would eventually become home to the Anbu's newest rising star, Itachi Uchiha. Most of the other members of the Anbu were against this. He was too young and the burden was too heavy. Yamato and Kakashi, however, were the ones who spoke up for him during this time. This pair know a thing or two about young potential. But after the Uchiha massacre, Kakashi was eventually discharged, becoming a normal Jonin and eventually rising to the place where we met him at the beginning of part 1. Yamato, however, stayed in the Anbu, choosing to always work on the sidelines. And during his service, he had the best performance record of any member in the Anbu, a nod to the absurd talent he had even as a child, which basically summarizes everything we knew about Yamato before the events of the actual series. It's important to discuss just what made Yamato special. The first Hokage was a legendary shinobi, and presumably Orochimaru had hoped that one of his test subjects would receive that power and become a usable vessel for Orochimaru in the near future. Yamato was a success, but his abilities with wood release were a far cry from what Hashirama could do. He's admitted so himself on a few occasions. He's a talented shinobi, but wood release was artificially implanted in him. He would never really master it. One important ability he did inherit through this ability, though, was to suppress the tailed beasts. It was thanks to this that he was eventually assigned as the leader of Team 7 so he could look over Naruto. Yamato was stepping in for Kakashi at a tumultuous time for Team 7. Sai had just replaced Sasuke, and he wasn't exactly someone Sakura or Naruto got along with at first. Despite this, Yamato did end up rebuilding this team basically from scratch, and he was there for pretty much every important moment in the series, always as a background character. He was there when Naruto fought Orochimaru in his Four Tails form. He was there when the team met and were humiliated by Sasuke for the first time. He helped train Naruto when Naruto was learning the Rasen Shuriken. He was even there when Naruto went on his knees in front of the Raikage to plead for Sasuke's life. So many important moments in the series, Yamato was there. Throughout all of this, it's really no wonder that Yamato eventually came to care for all of Team 7 as if they really were his own team to begin with. Yet, despite this, Yamato never really was treated with the respect he deserved. People always expected just a bit too much from him, from both fans and people in the universe alike. After the village was destroyed, he used his wood release to make dozens of houses just pop up out of the ground, and people wanted him to just keep going despite his exhaustion. You could often see this same sentiment represented all the time on Reddit or other comment sections. It's a funny joke, but it's kind of a theme in Yamato's life. A ninja who never got the rest he deserved, constantly utilized as just another tool. During the Fourth Great Ninja War, Yamato's body was eventually taken over by Tobi, who used it to enhance his own wood style. Honestly, it felt as if the series itself just forgot about him, then only remembered him for one thing, his wood release. He was eventually released, but he fell right into the Infinite Tsukiyomi along with everyone else. It's at this point that we need to realize what the Infinite Tsukiyomi really was. It was everyone's ideal world, the thing that their heart most desired on a subconscious level. We saw a lot of ideal worlds, so naturally you have to wonder what Yamato really wanted. It's a look directly into his heart. You might imagine he'd want a world where Orochimaru never took him, where he wasn't made a weapon, where he didn't lose his sister. Maybe it would have been a world where his natural talents were actually allowed a chance to shine. No, his Infinite Tsukiyomi was none of that. In his dream, he was the permanent leader of Team 7. In the end, all Yamato wanted was the first family he had ever known. Yamato was a man who never got to use his own power. He never got to choose his own life. He never even got the team he had always wanted. Not really, at least. It's both fitting and tragic that the one thing he really wanted was something that was his and his alone. I think given that, it's safe to say that Yamato might be the most tragic shinobi in all of Naruto. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notification bell. Before I go, I just want to give a quick shout out to all of the incredible patrons over at patreon.com/KatoYT. We're super active in our Patreon Discord server, occasionally throwing some late night anime and movie watch parties, so if that's something you're interested in, pledge just a single $1 to get an invite. You could also follow us on Twitter @KatoBeyond. Links to everything will be in the description. Again, my name is Hoodie Song, this is Kato, and thank you for watching.